Hey guys, what is up? I am back and I'm trying something new here. I don't know if anyone has done this before, um, but I do it every year and I figured this year, why not post it? One of my favorite things to do, one of my favorite things in general is just mock drafts. That's one of my favorite things. And so a lot of times I do a lot of mock drafts, but sometimes I will say, you know what? Let's just have it go on a mock draft and have it auto sim and let me see what it did for my team. It's always fun to see what the AI chooses to do for your team, and I like to grade them. I like to do that every year. And this year I figured, let me make a video out of it. It could be fun. Maybe I'll do a few of these if this one does well, or if I have fun, which I usually do. So we're going to start off, we're going to do 4 different mock draft simulators today. We're going to start off with Pro Football Network. So this is the PFN or PFSN mock draft simulator. We're going to start off with this one. Then we're going to go over to this one here, Mock Draft Hero, which is one that I used for the first time last year, but I really just started using it about a week ago. This is a really cool site. I'd actually recommend this. This is probably the best mock draft simulator available for free if you don't if you're not paying for PFF, which don't pay for PFF. It's not worth it. I do, but it's not worth it. And then I'm going to be doing NFL Draft Buzz here, and then I'm going to be doing PFF. And PFF is a little bit different than the other ones. You're not actually allowed to auto sim a draft. So I'm going to do it with the Falcons. Falcons have the least amount of picks aside from Seattle. They have 5. So I guess at the end of this video, if you're a Falcons fan, then hop in and I'll be doing a mock draft for your team. But let's start off here with Pro Football Sports Network. And this is cool. You can actually choose which board you want to go with. I'm going to go with Pro Football Sports Network. I don't know what their board looks like, but let's go for it. I don't know how long this video is going to be. It's probably not going to be very long. We need to restart this because this is running slow as hell. We need to go with the fast option here. So let's do that. And I believe Pro Football Sports Network, I believe they have trades with each other with the teams, and so does the NFL. Is it the NFL Draft Buzz? I believe they do as well. So we'll see if there are any trades that they do for the Seahawks here. That would be very interesting. But let's see what we get in this first one. Seahawks have 4 picks in the draft, and I'm hoping they get us something good here. Let's see. We're almost done. All right, there we go. Now, wow, it looks like Seattle traded up in this one. Wow. So that is wow. Okay. All right. That is kind of disappointing. All right. Don't love this draft already. I'm just gonna say that right now. Ooh, that's painful. Oh my God. They had us trading our first, our second, and our third to move up 11 spots. That's really tough. Ouch. That is painful. Trading up for someone that I don't even really think is worth trading up for. I'd rather stick at 32 and take Hood Hood wouldn't have been there, or Cisse. I wonder if Chris Johnson would have been available. Let's check the other corners that went off the board here. Keith Abney would have been available. Stukes, Julian Neal, Chris Johnson would have been available. Yep. So, this one, look, I'm going to grade them. I'm going to grade the drafts. Let's talk about Avion Terrell. Look, this would be a great pick for the Seahawks if we can get him at 32. But he is not worth a trade up, giving 3 picks, 64 and 96 to move up and get Avion Terrell. We don't even get anything back. That's too much. That's way too much for me. I wouldn't trade up for Avion Terrell at all. If I'm trading up for a corner, it's Delane or Jermod McCoy. If like the medicals check out and he falls to the 20s, trade up for him, sure. But that's really bad. This is an F. This is an F. The player, if we get Terrell at 32, I think that's a great pick. But moving up for him and overpaying to move up for him, I think I'll give it a D minus. I mean, it's not an F because it's not like we traded up for Kenyon Sadiq, but like that's very bad. That's very bad. And then our only other pick here, which PFN has it wrong, we pick at 212, not 187, is Trey Zune III. And this is a guy I talked about in my last video for talking about day 4 of the Combine. Trey Zune, I think this is actually a really good pick. I think he's worth like a 4th round pick. I think he's a developmental center. And Jalen Sundle is a free agent next year. I think he could step in and start for us. So this value here, this is an A pick. This is an A pick to get Trey Zune III at 187. But a D minus here for Avion Terrell. And that's this draft as a whole. This is going to be a D draft. Because we don't really do anything. Like we have some needs. Like we need running back. We need corner, yes. But we need safety. We need edge. We desperately need edge. And we come out of this with one cornerback and a center that's not going to play at all. So this is a really, really bad draft here. This is really bad. I'm giving it a D. This is not good. So the PFN gets a D. That's what we get here. Let's go over to Mock Draft Hero and let's sim this one up. Man, this is... I wonder if it'll run while I'm in the other... I don't think it will run while I'm in the other... on the other tab. Man, that is really bad. Like, Terrell, because he measured in with suboptimal length, which is really tough. I don't know if Mock Draft Hero actually does trades between the CPUs, so we'll have to see. I don't know if they do. That would be very interesting if they do. But I'm not sure. I've only used it a couple times in the past. I'm seeing it looks like Seattle still has 212 here, so at least we didn't trade that away. All right, let's see what they did for us. Oh, I think they do trades here. They do trades here. All right, let's sort it here with the Seahawks. Let's see what we got. Okay, no trades here. No trades. No trades. Let's see what we got. Okay, pick 32, Brandon Cisse. That is a heavily mocked pick, and that's a good pick. So this draft is already better than the last one. Mock Draft Hero is already a step ahead here. Cisse is good. He's not... I don't think he's as... Well, I don't want to say he's not as good as Terrell. Terrell's 2025 tape is really tough to watch. His 2024 tape is good. His 2024 tape is good, but his 2025 tape is really tough to watch, as is everyone's 2025 tape on Clemson. But Cisse, he's just not as much of a zone fit. He's not as much of a scheme fit for our defense, but I think with a year he could absolutely be a tremendous player for us. So Cisse is a really, really good pick here. I'm going to give this I'll give that pick. Well, let's see. I want to see who was still on the board before I give it like an A or whatever. So Cisse, we took Cisse over Thieneman and McNeil Warren. That's tough for me, because for me, if Thieneman or Warren are on the board, I would take both of them over Cisse. Because I think they're much better players. Like Omar Cooper Jr., I think is a better player, but I'm not. Well, I think they're about in the same range, but I don't think receiver is that big of a deal. overall, I think that's about it. The only guys here I would have taken over Cisse are Warren and Thieneman. So that brings it. I was going to say it's an A- pick, but seeing that Thieneman was still on the board, this is going to bring it to a B+, pick. Overall, I think that's still a really good pick. We're losing Reek Woolen and Josh Jobe, and so being able to get a corner in the first round that could really help us out in year one, that is a good pick. 64, we went with wide receiver Chris Bell. That's a bit interesting to me. I think it's good value. I think it's good value for Chris Bell. He had the injury that he's still recovering from. I think he absolutely would have been a first-round pick. But it's just hard to think about it's hard to justify taking a receiver that's not like a pure speedy deep threat. Like someone like Casey Concepcion at 32. That is, if we lose Shaheed, sure. That would be a great pick. Or Brennan Thompson in the third or the fourth. He reminds me a lot of Tank Dell. If we lose Shaheed, that's another speedy guy. And I think if we lose Shaheed, that's kind of all we should be looking for, is that deep downfield threat. Chris Bell is interesting because we have JSN, of course. We have Cooper Kupp for another year. So we wouldn't necessarily, if we retain Shaheed, then we wouldn't need Chris Bell year one at all. And so this would be a pure futures pick. Say Cooper Kupp is gone next year. We retain Shaheed, and then Chris Bell and Torrey Horton can battle for that wide receiver 3 spot. At this point, if you take Chris Bell, you have Bell and Horton, 2 guys with injury history in the lower body area, and we have Cooper Kupp there, but Kupp would be gone after this year anyway. So if we retain Shaheed, I think this is a good move. I don't think this is terrible. But if we lose Shaheed, I'm not super sure about this. Because like in 2027, if Chris Bell is our wide receiver 3, I think that would be really, really good. If he is our wide receiver 2, if he has to be our wide receiver 2 this year, coming off that injury, that's tough. And he isn't that like downfield threat that I think Shaheed is. So I'll give this pick a C. Although the value makes it a better pick, so maybe I'll do a C+ for Chris Bell. It is really good value. I'll do B-. I'm moving it up because like he really should be a first round player if it wasn't for the injury. So it is really good value that we get him at because of the injury. But I just don't know how I feel about the fit here. Then we got Emmett Johnson here. At 96, this is a bit. I mean, this is good value for Emmett Johnson, I think. I don't know how he fits for our team. I don't think it's a bad pick. At 96, I think it's good value. There are running backs I'd rather have than Emmett Johnson, but if we retain K9, I think Emmett Johnson is a good pick. I think it's a good pick if we keep K9 and then we have Johnson as our second. But if we're taking him to be our top running back, then I don't think this is a good idea here. And the way things are trending now, it really seems like K9 is gone, which really sucks. And so in this scenario, Emmett Johnson being our top running back, I don't love that. I think he needs to be in like a split backfield. So as our top running back, I don't love it, but the value, it's good value again. So I'll go B- again, just like I did with Chris Bell. And then Nadeem Tucker. I think this is really good value for him. This is a guy that people are looking at as early as the 4th round. So getting him at 212 is really, really nice. We need edge desperately. Boye Mafe is a free agent. Nwosu could be a cap casualty. He is owed $20 million this year. So we either have to extend him and push the money out, or we need to cut him. And then after that, we have D-Law, who is considering retirement, and this is probably his last year anyway. And then we have Derek Hall on the last year of his deal. So we are like in desperate need of edges. And so Nadeem Tucker here, he wouldn't contribute too much year one, I don't think. He's a guy that you'd want to hopefully develop behind D-Law for a year. I think he would be the 4th edge in a rotation. And I think he could give you something year one. I wouldn't be expecting anything from him. I think, honestly, if he's falling to 212, there's a reason for it. And Jared Ivey, with a year in the NFL developing behind D-Law and Nwosu, he's probably going to be better equipped to help you out in 2026 than Tucker is. So I feel like in this scenario, Jared Ivey would probably be your 4th edge and Tucker would be your 5th. We carried 6 on the roster last year, so we clearly don't mind carrying a ton of guys in the roster. And so I think he probably wouldn't contribute much year one, but he could be in a rotation. I think he could be effective. So overall, I'm going to give this pick here, I'm going to give this an A pick. I think this is a good pick. And overall, I'll give this draft a B+. Or a B. I'll do a B+ because we did address our 3 biggest needs here with corner, running back, and edge. And we got a 1st-round caliber player at wide receiver, even if it's not the biggest need. So I'm giving it a B+ because we addressed our 3 biggest needs, but it doesn't get in the A because they didn't choose the players that I would have liked at those positions of need. But overall, this is a good draft, and I would be satisfied with it. So this is a B+ for me, much better than the D- that I gave this one. Now let's go to mock draft, NFL draft buzz here, and let's start the draft here. This one, it's immediate. No, it's not. Let me start the new draft. I have to put it on warp speed, and then it'll be immediate. Let's turn on the CPU trades. Look at the 5 fucking pop-up ads here. This is ridiculous. I'm able to close out that one and that one. My goodness, that is ridiculous. All right, let's go through this here. All right, draft is done, and let's see what we have for the Seahawks here. I'm going to wait for this one to disappear here. I don't even know if you guys can see that, all the ads that are on here, but they're ridiculous. All right, let's click on Seattle here. And this is our draft here on the right side. And let's go to the number 1 pick, Colton Hood. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I think there are corners that I would like over him. I don't know who is available. But Colton Hood, he's a good player. And overall, honestly, I don't have much to say about that. Are we able to see who went where? We're not here. So I think this is a good pick. I think he could start year one for us on the boundary across from Witherspoon. And I think that's a good pick. So I'm going to give that one, I'll give that one an A-. There are corners I like better, but that is a good pick. 64, we get Josiah Trotter, linebacker out of Missouri. I think this is a good pick. Doesn't really address a need. So I guess we would be going for value here. My issue with this is just how would he help us year one? He probably wouldn't. And I do have concerns with Josiah Trotter and coverage. I see a lot of people talking about Anthony Hill to Seattle. He is really bad in coverage. He has serious coverage issues, and that makes him a really tough pick for me, especially if we have to take him at 32. I couldn't do that. And Trotter has similar issues in coverage. I'm not a big fan of. I think he's a pretty one-dimensional player. He just stacks up tackles, and that's it. I'm not a big Josiah Trotter guy. I have him in the late third, and I might move him down to the fourth. This pick overall, I'm not super happy about it. I would give this a C minus here. So A minus and C minus here for Trotter. Zachariah Branch, it's good value, I guess. For most boards. On my board, this is like exact value for Zachariah Branch. I don't love the fit. I mean, if we lose Shaheed, then it could be good, but you gotta look at this guy. He is tiny. He's 5'9", he's 177, 4.35 40. Yeah, that's nice. But look at his route tree. He's so small. I think he gets like 60% of his targets are behind the line of scrimmage. It's like, how are we going to be able to use this guy effectively? Like, his route tree is what Waldron dialed up for JSN in year one. Like, this is not a great fit. The value is about right for me, but I don't really like Zachariah Branch as a player. He provides us a bit of a deep threat with his speed. But I don't know. I'm gonna give this a C pick. I feel like there are areas that we absolutely could have gone with. Round 6, this is an A+ pick. A+ pick, Kalen Black. I have a 4th round grade on him. Like, I would honestly, I might prefer Kalen Black at 96 than Zachariah Branch. But Kalen Black, this is a tremendous pick. He is a really, really good pass protector. He's one of the best pass protecting running backs in this class. And so if we retain K9 and Kalen Black as our second running back, that's awesome, dude. This guy's a bruiser. He's a true power back, I think. And he's a really good pass protector. So I think this is a tremendous pick. This is an A+ pick. So I like the first pick. I like the last pick. Not super high on the middle picks. So this draft overall, I'm gonna give it a B. I'll give it a B minus. Just because like these ones, Josiah Trotter, that one really drags it down for me. But Kalen Black is an A+ pick. I think Hood is an A- pick. Overall, it's a B- draft. I still think this one's better here. And now we'll go on to our last one here, PFF. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to do a draft for the Falcons. They have 5 picks. So let's hop into this. PFF, I don't believe they do trades between CPU. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a little bit of Falconsing. So let's look at what do I think the Falcons might need here. I don't know. I mean, they franchise tagged Kyle Pitts. They're good at tight end for sure. It says tight end is their second biggest need. I don't know if they're factoring in that they already franchise tagged Kyle Pitts. I don't really think it's a big need. I think they have to address their defensive line. Absolutely. They absolutely have to address edge because James Pierce Jr. is like a felon now. So he might not play football anymore. So I think edge is a route that I could go in. I'm looking at guys on the board here. If I'm going by what would normally be PFF's board, then Gabe Jacobs is probably the best route here. They have Jalen Walker on the edge. I believe one of their edges is a free agent. Let's actually, we can kind of cheat here and look at their roster through this. The only guys they have here, Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., and Braylon Trice. And Braylon Trice has been injured since he was drafted. So edge is a big need because James Pearson might not even play for them. So I'm going to go with Gabe Jacobs here at 48. I think that's a good pick. Now at 79, wide receiver. They're going to go with wide receiver here. They have Drake London. Darnell Mooney is a free agent, I believe. So they're going to be looking for a wide receiver too if they don't retain him. Zachariah Branch is available. I don't know how he fits really in that offense. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think also, like, yeah, they have Penix. Could they also be looking for a QB here? It's possible. Maybe a little bit later. Not this early. But I'm going to look at receiver. They could also look at running back. They could look for a second running back because Algier is a free agent. We could look at the defensive line here. Nothing I love here. So I think I'm going to go receiver here. Best guy on the board for me is probably Antonio Williams. Or Chris Brazzell, but I get a little bit weary in that Tennessee offense. So I think I'm going to go with Antonio Williams here at 79. And now at 114, this is where I'm going to take my quarterback here. I'm going to go with Talon Green. This is a developmental guy. I mean, so is Penix. But, I don't know if Stefanski's going to want to roll with Penix. I think he could take Talon Green and want to develop him. And he could, although, I'm looking at Stefanski. He grabbed Dylan Gabriel. He didn't want Shador. He wanted Dylan Gabriel. So I'm wondering if like Drew Aller is probably the type of quarterback that he would go for. At this pick, if he's looking for maybe a more stable quarterback year one, maybe you get like sign a veteran guy. Maybe you bring in Joe Flacco and you draft a guy behind him. I'm going to go with Drew Aller here at 114. 196 here. This is probably where I'm going to go back to defensive line. Could look at edge as well. So I'm going to look at defensive line, look at the edge. They need guys on the interior as well. Let's check out their interior group. It's Ruka Rohoro, Brandon Dorless, Zach Harrison. That's it. So they need to add guys on the interior. Zane Durant, honestly, if he's available, I think he is going to be pushed up draft boards just because of how good he was at the combine. Really, really fast guy and provides a lot as a pass rusher. And so I'm going to go with Zane Durant there at 196. Now at 231, let's see what we can do here. I think I might go cornerback just to add some depth. But honestly, I might double dip at edge here and get them some more depth. And I'm going to go with a guy that looked really good at the combine, Mason Rager here, provide them some depth. And that's my Falcons draft. If you're interested, anyone in here interested in that, if I have any Falcons fans in here, don't kill me. Don't kill me. I don't know what you guys need. I'm not there yet in the draft process. All right. Let's see what PFF did for the Seahawks here. Let's see what we got at 32. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Why? Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe this. Oh my God. I can't believe this. Yo, I cannot believe this. This is ridiculous. Are we serious? Kenyon Sadiq at 32 for Seattle. Oh my God, dude. What the hell, dude? All right. Well, let's look at this as a receiver pick here. We don't need tight end. We have Arroyo. we have Arroyo. This is what Arroyo does for us. Like, would we convert Sadiq to wide receiver here? He ran a 4-4 flat. Like, are we going to convert him to wide receiver and have him be our, like, big-bodied receiver here? In this scenario, we probably have to, because we, like, or, like, we'd have to trade Arroyo. If Sadiq's going to be our tight end, too, behind Barner, we'd have to trade Arroyo. I'm not going to give this an F pick because this is good value. Sadiq should go higher than this. So if he's there at 32 and we take him, I'm going to be pretty pissed. But it is good value in terms of the board. Like, who was on the board? I'd rather have Cisse. Like, I'd rather have most of these corners here. It's not great. That's not a great pick. I'm not going to give it an F. I'm going to give it a D because of value. Because it is good value, but it's like literally the least valuable position for the Seahawks in this draft. So, and with only 4 picks, that's rough. But we do draft for value, and maybe on their board, I mean, they had a first-round grade on Arroyo somehow, so they would probably have a very high grade on Sadiq. So if he's the top guy on their board and they feel like he's the best value pick, then go for it. Like, he would have to be our big-bodied receiver, right? Like, or you just trade Arroyo, because, like, he's not. This guy Sadiq isn't really a blocker. He brings pretty much what Arroyo does. I think Sadiq has more upside as a blocker, but man, that's tough. That's gonna be a D pick, but I guess it could be worse. At least we didn't grab like Eli Stowers at 32. 64, we grabbed Kamari Ramsey. Okay, this isn't terrible. That's not terrible. Who is available here? Rivers, Sam Hesht, Jacob Rodriguez would have been nice. But this isn't terrible. Kamari Ramsey, he's a nickel. He in previous years he has played safety as well. But I think he's primarily a nickel. And McDonald did say at the combine, he said, like, yeah, we could absolutely use another nickel. We could absolutely have another nickel. And he said there was someone in this draft that can do what Emanwari does. So I don't know if he's talking about Warren. But look, he also said, like, he was like, yeah, Nick Emanwari can play boundary corner. He can do that. And so, like, we could move Emanwari to outside corner and have him play opposite Witherspoon and then get Ramsey to be our nickel. And that wouldn't be terrible. I don't think that would be awful. And that's the route I'm going to look at it here. Kamari Ramsey would probably be our starting nickel here. I'd hate to take Emanwari away from the line of scrimmage because I don't think Kamari Ramsey is that great in run support. I think he's good, but just not as good as Emanwari. I mean, how can you be? But overall, I'm going to give this a B pick. I think in terms, I'll give this a... Actually, I'm going to give this a higher grade just because looking at the value on the board, there aren't many guys I would have taken over Ramsey, maybe just one or two. So I'm going to give this an A pick. He gives us like our third safety spot, and he could start at nickel for us. So this is an A pick here. Let's see what we got at 96 here. We got Mikhail Kamara. This is a great pick. I love this. This is awesome. Who would I have taken ahead of him? Keelan Rutledge, and I think that's probably it. Maybe Malik Muhammad, but I think that's it. Mikhail Kamara. This is an A pick here. This is an A pick. This is really good value. I have him very high on my board. I think he provides a lot as a pass rusher in year one. He would fit in that rotation very nicely, I think, as our third or fourth edge. I think this is a really, really good pick, Kamara, here, because we do need edge. So that's an A pick. So back-to-back A picks. Let's see what we got at 212 here. Our last pick of this video here. What do we got? We got Damani Jackson. Okay, this is a good pick. Okay, this was a good draft, I think. This was a good draft. Damani Jackson, he is a developmental guy. But I think this is good value. In this scenario, I think we're able to have Kamari Ramsey at nickel. Or like maybe we re-sign Josh Jobe and have him start in the outside and have Ramsey as our third safety. And then we have Damani Jackson like on the back of the depth chart just with Nehemiah Pritchett developing. And I think he could eventually become an average starter. So I think this is a good pick. I'll give this an A pick. And overall, this draft, I mean, Kenyon Sadiq really drags it down. But if this is the rest of our draft, honestly, I'm not super mad with Kenyon Sadiq being the pick there. So we didn't take running back, which is tough. Definitely tough not to take running back here. But let's see who. I mean, we could have taken Roman Hemby there. That would have been a better pick. Kalen Black went one pick before that. Terrian Stewart was on the board. It looks like in this mock, it looks like Chip Trayanum actually is going to be a UDFA. So in that case, in this scenario, if we can have this draft and then target Chip Trayanum in UDFA or like Anthony Hankerson or someone, then this is a really, really good draft. I will, because of our picks after Sadiq, I'm going to give this an A. This is an A draft. Like, Sadiq has the value there. This is probably the best draft we have. Mock Draft Hero addressed more of our needs here, but depending on the UDFA class, just these four players here, I'm going to give it a B+. But depending on the UDFA, this could be an A draft. All right, that is going to do it for this video. It's a really fun concept that I'm not sure if anyone else has done before on YouTube. I don't even know what to title this video. But I appreciate you guys stopping in. If you enjoyed this concept, let me know down in the comments below, and I could make this a weekly thing if it's something that you guys are really into. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys tomorrow for my weekly mock draft. See ya. Later.